to, but he had so much to say before she could start or think of what to sing. She took another quick breath, felt uncomfortable seated, and without asking stood and launched into the same song that the apprentices had been singing that morning. She had a brief notion of showing him that he wasn't the only one who could fill the hall with resounding tones, but some fragment of advice from Petirian came to mind, and she concentrated on singing intensely rather than loudly. He just looked at her. She held the last note, letting it die away as if the singer were moving off, and then she sank down onto the stool. She was trembling, and now that she'd stopped singing, her feet began to throb in a dull beat. Master Schoneger only sat there, great folds of chin billowing down his chest. Without lifting his head, he tilted his body backward and stared at her from under his fleshy and black-haired brows. "And you say that Petirian never taught you to use your voice?" "Not the way you did," and Manoli pressed her hands demonstratively against her flat belly. "He told me always to sing with my gut and heart." "I can sing louder," she added, wondering if that's why Schoneger was frowning. He waggled his fingers. "Any idiot can bellow. Camo can bellow, but he can't sing." Petirian used to say, "If you sing loud, they only hear noise, not sound or song." "Ha! He told you that. My words exactly." So he did listen to me after all. The last was delivered in an undertone to himself. Petirian was wise enough to know his limitations. Silently, Manoli bridled at the aspersion. From the window ledge, Beauty hissed, and Rocky and Diver echoed her sentiment. Master Schoneger raised his head and regarded them in mild perplexity. "So," and he fixed his deep eyes on her, "what the mistress feels, the pretty creatures echo. And you loved Petirian and will hear no ill word against him?" He leaned forward slightly, waggling a forefinger at her. "Know this, Manoli, who runs. We all have limitations, and wise is he who recognizes them. I meant," and he settled back into his chair, "no disrespect for the departed Petirian. For me, that was praise." He tilted his head again. "For you, the best thing possible. For Petirian had sense enough not to meddle, but to wait until I could attend to your vocal education. Temper and refine what is natural and produce." Now, Master Schoneger's left eyebrow was jerking up and down, the one arching while the other remained unmoved, so that Manoli was fascinated by his control. "Produce a well-placed, proper singing voice." The master exhaled hugely. Then Manoli took in the sense of what he'd been saying, no longer distracted by his facial contortions. "You mean I can sing?" "Any idiot on Pern can sing," the master said disparagingly. "No more talk. I'm weary." He began brushing her away from him. "Take those other sweet-throated freaks along with you, too. I've had enough of their baleful looks and assorted noises." "I'll see that they stay." "Stay away? No." Schoneger's eyebrows rose sharply. "Bring them. They learn from example, one assumes. So you will set them a good example." A distant look clouded his face, and then a slow smile tugged up the corners of his mouth. "Go, Manoli. Go now. All this has wearied me beyond belief." With that, he leaned his elbow on the sand table so heavily that the opposite end left the floor. He cushioned his head against his fist, and while Manoli watched bemused, began to snore. Although she didn't think any human could fall asleep so quickly, she obeyed the implicit dismissal and, beckoning to her fire lizards, quietly departed.